My name is Jerry Downey. I'm a scientist working with Teagasc, that's the Irish Food and Agricultural Development Organisation. My main area of work is in the application of vibrational spectroscopy to food authentication and adulteration issues. And one of the problems we've been working on recently has been to do with detecting the adulteration of a mincemeat product, in other words a beef burger to you and I, with beef offal. And beef offal comprises those organs, internal organs of cattle, which are not prime cuts. They're things called liver, kidney, lung and heart. We were aware that there were potential economic adulteration issues around those products, because with a mincemeat product you've no key for what's in it. You can't visualize it. It's not like a piece of steak or a piece of roast beef where you can be sure what's there. So we set about designing some experiments where we actually manufactured our own authentic beef burgers, which contained only beef or beef fat, some rusk and some water. These are all well accepted constituent ingredients in a good beef burger. And we also then designed experiments to incorporate offal of different types and at different levels. But these levels we set out were decided on after discussions with our meat specialists who knew what the market bears and what normal good production practice is. So we produced these samples, and that took quite a long period of time because we had to be very fussy about actually what we were putting into them. But we produced them over a number of occasions, and then we analysed them using near-infrared spectroscopy and Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy. So the data collection is quite straightforward. We simply had to homogenize our hamburger samples, place them in the machine and collect the spectra. And once we'd done that, then we did some pretty fancy mathematics on those spectra to try and discriminate authentic from adulterated beef burgers, or to classify a beef burger as authentic or not. Now those two approaches appear quite similar, but they have different implications. Because if you discriminate, it means you tell the system that what you're showing it must be either one class of material or the other. So it must be either authentic or adulterated by offal. With the class modelling approach, you simply ask the system, here is a set of spectra of authentic beef burgers, samples we know to be true because we made them. Develop a model, figure out what makes these burgers the way they are. Then we'll challenge you, we'll give you spectra of some other authentic beef burgers which you haven't seen before, and some adulterated ones, and see if you can get them right. And actually what we discovered was that both problems we got good answers to. With the near-infrared, we could use the class modelling approach, which in my view is the stronger going forward. And in the FTIR approach, we could discriminate, and that worked very well. We also looked at applying these models on fresh material. So that was samples we'd made and simply chilled overnight. And then we froze some other samples for 2 to 3 weeks and thawed them out and did the same thing again. And we developed combined models. I mean, essentially you don't want to have two models for a problem if you can simply have one. And we found they all work pretty well. And so the way I see this working, probably to its best advantage, is not necessarily in a regulatory context, but in the context of a food processor or food producer. Because it's in the producer's aim, it's in their interest rather, to actually be absolutely sure that what they're selling is what it claims to be. And sometimes they can be unwittingly supplying material which is not what they think it is, and then the problem comes back to haunt them. So in this way, for example, a beef burger manufacturer could begin the process by producing in-house authentic material using samples that they can control. They can define the spectral library for those samples so they know what an authentic product should be, and in the future then, as they purchase in materials, the finished product should still match their library. If it doesn't, they can make a decision then about what to do with the material, but at least it alerts them to the fact that they have a problem, something that they don't always know until it's too late.